All right, let's dive in. We're talking about a conflict so long it literally outlived most of the people who fought in it. This was a war that totally changed the game. We're talking devastating new weapons, the fall of kings, and the birth of two of Europe's greatest rivals, England and France. This is the story of the Hundred Years' War.
Okay, so first things first, let's talk about the name. The 100 Years' War? Yeah, it didn't actually last 100 years. Try 116. I mean, just think about that for a second. A single conflict stretching on for that long? It's just staggering. And it completely reshaped the face of medieval Europe.
So you gotta ask, how on earth does a war that lasts for over a century even get started? Well, like so many massive conflicts in history, it all began at the very top. We're talking about a royal crisis. Back in 1328, the King of France, a guy named Charles IV, dies, and he has no son, no male heir to take the throne.
And bam, you've got a power vacuum. Two main guys step up to the plate. First, you've got England's King Edward III. And his claim? It's actually pretty strong. See, his mom was the dead French king's sister. That makes him the grandson of a French king. But then you've got Philip VI. He's a French cousin, and he's the guy the French nobles want.
So this is the crucial moment, right? The French nobles have a huge choice to make. Do they go with the stronger bloodline, or do they stick with their homeland? They were terrified of the idea of an English king ruling France from across the channel. So what they do? They pick their own guy, Philip. You can imagine how Edward felt, betrayed. His claim, which he saw as totally legitimate, just tossed aside. He was insulted, he was furious, and in 1337, he declared war. And just like that, the stage was set for more than 100 years of conflict.
And in those early years, man, this war was not a fair fight. It was incredibly one-sided. England came out of the gate swinging, and they had a secret weapon, a piece of technology that the French just had no answer for. It was a total game changer.
And here it is, the English longbow. Now this wasn't just some stick and string. No way. You've got to think of this thing as the medieval equivalent of a machine gun. A single, well-trained archer could unleash a storm of arrows, like multiple arrows every single minute, with terrifying accuracy and punch.
Now this is where it gets really interesting when you compare them side by side. The French, they were using the crossbow. It was slow, clunky to reload, and had a shorter range. The English longbow, on the other hand, wow, it could fire way faster and its arrows could literally punch through the armor of a charging French knight. But get this, it wasn't just about the tech. It was a social revolution. All of a sudden, a peasant, a commoner, could kill a high-end mighty nobleman from 200 yards away. That completely flipped the old rules of chivalry and warfare right on their head.
And the impact was just devastating. You see it right here. At the Battle of Crécy in 1346, the English longbowmen just mowed down the best of the French knights. 10 years later, they did it again at the Battle of Poitiers, and this time they captured the French king himself. Can you imagine? The king captured. France was plunged into absolute chaos.
But here's the thing about a war this long. The tables are bound to turn. England's dominance wasn't going to last forever. The war was about to enter this new, really chaotic phase. We're talking about a force deadlier than any army, a peace treaty that was barely holding on, and a legendary English king who was about to bring France to the brink of total collapse.
First up, something no army could fight, swept across Europe, the Black Death. It put the whole war on a grim, terrifying pause. Then they signed a shaky peace treaty, but everybody knew it wouldn't last. And sure enough, in 1415, the fighting starts up again. A new, super ambitious English king, Henry V, sails across the channel. He's determined to end this thing and claim that French crown for good.
And this leads to one of the most famous battles in history, Agincourt. Picture this. The English army is exhausted, they're sick, and they are massively outnumbered. But on this one muddy field, their longbowmen did it again. They unleashed that hellish storm of arrows and just annihilated the French knights charging at them. It was a staggering victory, the kind of thing you think only happens in stories.
After a defeat that crushing, the French had no choice. They were forced to sign the Treaty of Troyes. And let me be clear, this wasn't just about giving up some land. This was a total surrender of the crown itself. The treaty officially declared Henry V the next in line to be King of France.
So, that's it, right? It seemed like it was all over. The English had won on the battlefield, they'd won at the negotiating table. This 100-year quest for the French crown, it looked like it was finally done. Had England actually won?
Well, the answer, unbelievably, is no. Because right then, when France was at its absolute lowest, their armies were shattered, their crown was promised away, hope showed up. And it came in the most unlikely, unexpected form you could possibly imagine.
Enter a teenage peasant girl. Her name was Joan of Arc, and she just shows up at the French court. She claims she's having visions from God, telling her that it's her divine mission to kick the English out and make sure the real French king gets his crown. It sounds crazy, right? But they were so desperate, they actually listened to her. And her impact was immediate. It was electric. She wasn't just another general. She was a symbol. She lit a fire under the demoralized French army, filling them with this incredible faith and courage. She leads them to a massive, decisive victory at the Siege of Orleans. And that win, it paved the way for their guy, Charles VII, to be officially crowned king, which was a huge slap in the face to that English treaty.
The story takes a tragic turn, though. Joan was eventually captured by English allies, put on trial, and executed as a heretic. But here's the twist. In death, she became even more powerful. The English thought they were getting rid of a soldier, but what they really did was create a martyr. They created an eternal symbol of French resistance and unity.
And inspired by Joan's sacrifice, the tide of the war turned for good. This was the final act. The fight for France wasn't just about who got to wear the crown anymore. No, this was about the nation itself.
So, fueled by this new national spirit, the French army completely transforms. They get professional, they come up with new strategies, and this is critical. They start to master gunpowder. Cannons, which used to be kind of a novelty, could now just blast through the walls of English-held castles. So over the next couple of decades, the French just systematically take their country back, pushing the English all the way to the coast. And then, in 1453, the fighting finally stopped.
So after all that, 116 years of fighting, what's the takeaway? What's the legacy? Well, it's huge. This war forged these strong, separate national identities for England and France that we still see today. It basically ended the age of the knight in shining armor, showing that a peasant with a longbow or a cannon could be way more powerful. And of course, it gave us these timeless legends, larger-than-life figures like Henry V and Joan of Arc, whose stories still fascinate us.
And that really leaves us with one big question to chew on, right? The war started as a family squabble, a fight over who got to wear a fancy crown. But after 116 years of shared struggle, of sacrifice, it became something totally different. It became a fight for a national cause. And maybe that's the real lesson here. What truly defines a nation? Is it the crown on a king's head, or is it the shared cause in the hearts of its people?